Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Welcome to another edition of Judd's Camp Notes, everybody. Judd's Camp Notes. Yeah, the kids love them.
Football.
The kids love them. Yesterday was a little lower key because they weren't in pads, right?
Yeah, rain or shine, though. Rain or shine. Yesterday was actually, in my opinion, although I think the temperature was not as high as it was for the full padded practice on Monday, I think it was muggier. It was a more uncomfortable day, actually, than Monday was. And they were in, shorts and shells because they will be back in full pads today. They'll be off on Thursday. And then they'll be back in full pads, I bet, a couple times. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at least 2 of those days.
Yeah, so we'll dive into, so it sounds like they're going to ramp up a couple more of these, like you said, maybe today. I'll be out there with you today. But there's some stuff from yesterday we're going to dive into here. This is your daily home for Judd's Camp Notes, intricate observations about the backup quarterback battle. If you're looking for second string defensive line notes, you've come to the right place here, in addition to daily JJ McCarthy updates. But Judd's Camp Notes are powered throughout the next few weeks by Minnesota Renaissance Festival, which is just around the corner. Open weekends, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., August 16th through September 28th, and Labor Day as well. And it's just a fun place to take your family. Over 50 games, rides, and attractions. You can throw axes, wield swords, watch live armored combat jousting, real Vikings with beards and stuff. It's pretty cool. Tasty turkey legs, Nordic meatballs. Again, bring your family starting in a couple weeks. RenaissanceFest.com sponsoring Judd's Camp Notes here. All right. We want more camp notes.
Football.
Where do you want to start here?
Well, you'll get more camp notes. So it was a rather uneventful practice as far as the pace. I actually thought it was a little bit slow. I would have liked it. Look, I understand they're not going to be in pads constantly, but I would have liked a little bit more intensity, which I didn't think that we got. Now, there were a lot of veterans given yesterday off. Harrison Smith's been off a lot, which I'm not surprised by. But defensively, Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, there was a pretty lengthy list of guys that were not asked to practice. So that did create some nice work for guys who are going to be backups with the first team. But I want to start, as we always do, with J.J. McCarthy. It's the talking point of camp, and it will continue to be. So day 6 of training camp for the Vikings, shorts and shells, J.J. McCarthy, here we go. And just as a starting point, I thought it was his worst day so far of camp. Because while the end of the session in full pads, the team drill, the 2-minute drill on Monday wasn't good, he didn't have a bad day. Like he's had, and just for context, a lot more ups than downs for a guy who's going to be starting for the first year. So this is certainly not panic alarm stuff, but I just thought it was his most uneven day so far. The stats, the unofficial stats, the Zolgad, the Judd's Camp Notes stats tracker. 11 on 11 yesterday in a couple of different situational drills or situations. 6 of 8, which not bad. 41 of 51 now in team drills in camp. He was, and we'll get to this as well here quickly, in the 7-on-7 red zone drill, which they've now done twice in camp. So this is a passing drill. And we're talking about the deep red here. Deep red, 2 of 5. He is now 5 of 10 in that drill.
2 of 5? 5 of 10 overall in
5
camp?
of 10.
Oh.
In 2 different periods so far in a couple of practices.
Shut
it down.
What's Ryan Tannehill's number? Oh, no.
And
Shut
now
it down.
And now
Carson Wentz.
in 7-on-7 overall, he is now 15 of 25 in camp. But
so it's kind of interesting. He's been in terms of just camp completion percentage, more accurate. Now that accounts for very little context, all due respect to Judd's Camp Notes.
Right.
We're not tracking ADOT, like average depth of
Correct.
target. We're not tracking yards per attempt, all these things. But he's over 80% completions in the full team drill where there's a defensive front. And you said 15 of 25 in the 7-on-7 where there's no pass rush. There's 2 garbage cans sitting there in front of him.
And keep in mind, too, in the red zone drill that we're talking about in the deep red, first of all, it's must pass. And second of all, there is, and goes back to what O'Connell's talked about, there's very little, in the big picture of things, very little real estate to work in. Real estate is not bountiful.
It's a tighter part of the field. Yeah.
It's not. Okay, so let's go. There were two different sessions where it went McCarthy, Howell in this red zone 7-on-7 drill. So let's go to them as far as McCarthy goes. Okay.
Okay.
Working from near the goal line, so we are talking very deep red. He missed Jordan Addison on one pass in the back of the end zone. And then he hit him on another pass, but it was out of bounds. Addison caught it, official there, motioning out of bounds. So it didn't count. The pass was complete, but that's not the point. The point is, can you score a touchdown? Interestingly enough, in the third play of this particular drill, Lucky Jackson, who's becoming a favorite with Justin Jefferson out. A lot of guys are getting time now to work in. Deshaun Jones, Lucky Jackson's becoming a favorite of McCarthy, and he caught the one pass in this particular drill for a touchdown between the two Addison incompletions.
Okay.
81. Keep your eye. If you go out to camp, keep your eye here on him. Jefferson's out there. He looks fine. They're not practicing him. I don't blame them. O'Connell did say, I think it was our friend Kevin Seifert from ESPN yesterday, basically asked, are you going to mothball him for the rest of camp? He's like, no, we'd like to get him out here. And with the way he's moving, I think he comes back at some point pretty soon, I think. But anyway, Lucky Jackson, who's been on the practice squad for 2 years, so he certainly knows the system, has looked good.
He's very fortunate to be getting these opportunities.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
No?
Very.
Yes, he is very fortunate. Fortunate Jackson. I'll change his name. Red Zone Part 2. J.J. McCarthy yesterday, because there is no minutia too small for Judd's camp notes. On the first down pass, so this is the first play of the second part of the drill, and this is where you knew J.J. was not having his best day. He drilled a pass into the center of the field for Josh Oliver. And it was even too high for Josh. I think it went off his helmet and then hit the goalpost. But Josh is what, 6'5"?
Is he 6'5"? He's at least 6'4". Yeah, he's a big dude.
I've got it right here. I've got the roster right here. Number 84.
He's listed at
6'5".
6'5", yeah.
Yep, he's listed at 6'5". So that pass went too high. Now, the good thing is McCarthy did come back and completed a touchdown pass to Addison. And then he completed, he was on the precipice of completing another pass to end that drill, the third play, for Addison as well. It was nullified because the defender grabbed Jordan's jersey from behind and basically did not allow him to complete his route.
Yeah.
But, this is an area where, again, it's must pass. It's an area that you don't have a lot of room to work in. It's not surprising. But they are definitely trying to accomplish some things. Now, from the deep red, if you are skeptical of Judd's camp notes or of Sports Dad and say, well, yeah, but that's why they got Jordan Mason to run the ball there. You're right. So that I fully expect that in similar situations, I don't think you abandon the pass, but every time they run that drill, it's sort of a reminder of Detroit last year, right? Where you didn't trust your run, you didn't trust your interior offensive line, and so you're like, Sam Darnold, you got to pass the ball. And Sam's like, well, today I can't hit the broadside of a barn, so that's going to be a problem. So it is a reminder of why you went and improved your offensive line. It's why you went and traded for Jordan Mason. But nonetheless, it's part of Judd's camp notes.
Yeah, I think there's a temptation to maybe look at these last two practices and sound the alarm a little bit about the offense and you'd love to, right? You're watching football and you want to see free-flowing offense from your favorite team, and you show up to training camp to watch a practice. But the reality is this offensive line is still down for the majority of these, like in the full team drills anyways, is still down 40% of its starters. Like Darisaw and Fries aren't on the PUP list. They are mixing in Fries more than Darisaw, but they're generally not integrated into the fabric of the offense yet. first-year starting quarterback who's getting these first-team reps. He did not get the 1 versus the 1 reps last training camp. So what you're seeing here, and they didn't run pads at all, too. They didn't yesterday either, but like they didn't run pads in mini camps and OTAs. So what you're seeing right now is a temporarily depleted offensive line. Jefferson also out. First time J.J. McCarthy has, with pads, 1 offense versus 1 defense. And that defense just added 2 awesome interior pass rushers to an already top 5 unit under Brian Flores' tutelage. And so from that perspective, the first week of training camp practices, the defense should probably be dominating the offense. And I would say there's been certain chunks over the week where the offense has held its own pretty well. Mm-hmm. We'll see what this thing looks like. I think the joint practices are going to be very telling, especially if you can get either Will Fries and or Christian Darrisaw back by that point. Maybe Jefferson, but my guess is they probably play it safe through the joint practices. So you're just going to, if you show up or you're consuming Judd's camp notes remotely, it's very likely that you're going to get a lot of defensive highlights and some mixed bag with the offense. I just want to put that disclaimer out here as we continue to push forward with these great camp notes, by the way.
Yeah, and the 7-on-7 red zone stuff, too, again, most importantly, is a reminder that you have to run there. Like you can't, what the Vikings tried to do.
But they don't in 7-on-7, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. It's a passing drill. But the point is it's a reminder that you're going to have to run there. And it's also, again, to me, it hammers home the Detroit game and flaws, which is if Sam Darnold goes haywire, which he did in that game, what are you going to do? And the Vikings are like, well, we still have to pass. So, yeah, that one is, and I mean, the Flores defense is going to give you looks you don't see, which is great. Ultimately, I think it's going to help them. All right, let's go to situational drill. So, first time we saw this.
Camp notes.
Come on. Football.
So, on Monday, as we just talked about in full pads, 2-minute drill, valuable. This is, again, in shorts and shells, situational drills. What does that mean? It means you've got to play, third down play. And you run that play, and then you bring on Will Reichert or Ryan Wright to punt or kick. And so the situation was for the first one, third down, defense's 47-yard line. I think the first downs are all, and it's hard to tell from our perch. I think the first downs here are all pretty makeable, but the point is they're still going to just run the situation that they desire. So actually, if you get the first down, you're still going to go to what your situation is. Okay. Mm-hmm. So third down, defense's 47-yard line, just the ball just over midfield. McCarthy completes a pass to Aaron Jones. And now the situation is this. We bring on the kicking team. 53-yard field goal. It's all on the line. It's all on the line. The clock is ticking.
Fans are watching, waiting anxiously.
Will Reichert, boom, ball going towards the goalpost. It's going. And that sets up a 53-yard field goal attempt that hits the left upright. Doink!
Doink.
Did they boo him? Did they boo him off the practice field? We turned pretty quickly on kickers here.
He started to cry.
I don't know if you're aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
and we'll get into we have been tracking there's been 2 days now of content on kicks, which we will get into in full at some point here. Situational drill 2. Fourth down, ball at the defense's 40. McCarthy to Jordan Mason. Overthrow.
Where on the field? Or like where, what was the route that Mason was running? Like where was he on the field?
I think he was I believe he was he was headed towards the sideline.
So it was kind of a little like a swing kind of pass situation.
Yeah, okay. Yep. So anyway, and it's a windy day too. It's a windy day. The wind is, no, he didn't hit the pass. So that's the second one. Situational drill number 3. Third down, defense is 40 again. McCarthy's pass. This is the worst pass of the day, but I don't know whose fault this was exactly. McCarthy's pass for Jalen Naylor falls incomplete, and Naylor is like nowhere near where the ball is. So either he ran the wrong route or McCarthy got confused, but it was probably the most the most emotion we saw from JJ on the day because he was upset with himself, grabbed his helmet, clapped his hands, and that's something else here. So just to get done with this, it forces a Ryan Wright punt. But that's something else that we saw yesterday too. JJ McCarthy is not afraid to sort of confront things. And there was a time when a drill, I think it was in a walkthrough, because the period right before this was a walkthrough. And it was going sort of slow, and the whole day was sort of just slow. It was hot, it was muggy, and it was just sort of slow. And JJ's like, let's effing get going here. So he took some control.
Sneaky F-bomb dropper, by the way. You know, don't be fooled by the clean-shaven, baby face, big smile. This is not old Kirky boy here, where he's going to stop short of an F-bomb.
Shucks.
Except for that one time, in front of his dad, when Kirky said, "You effing like that in training camp," and his parents started crying.
Yeah, he'll drop a little F-bomb here and there. You know? He's
also clearly, and players have talked about this, but you don't see it a lot. He's also asserting himself. McCarthy is, but this pass was, it was sort of like the Jefferson passes, but worse, which is, I think it's just the wrong route. And I don't know if that's the receiver ran the wrong route or McCarthy threw to the wrong spot, but this one was uncatchable. It didn't get picked off, but it was just it was nothing.
Yeah,
like
and
it wasn't a close play.
These are like first week of camp things, or I guess now we're kind of getting into technically second week of camp things, where they've got certain adjustments that they make. The wide receiver and the quarterback have to sort of telepathically, look at each other, or based on this look defensively, this route is now this, or maybe you're making an actual check. And so there's a ton of like verbal and nonverbal communication stuff that you have to work through. And I don't know, because we don't know exactly, we can't hear the communication. We're left to sort of surmise some of these things.
Right.
But Brian Flores' defense shows some crazy different looks. And you might have to make little adjustments on what you're doing. And so it's not entirely shocking that you would mess some of these things up the first week and a half of training camp. Like that's, you don't just hit the ground running and you're the 1998 Vikings offense the first 5 days on the practice field.
Yeah, we call them corrections coming up.
Okay.
Corrections are coming.
Some course corrections.
Yep. Situational drill number 4. This is the final one of this period involving J.J. McCarthy. Jordan Mason takes a handoff from McCarthy. He breaks away because they don't tackle in no pads. But he's given a 3-yard gain. So now the ball is at the defense's 37. So it's 4th down, though. They go for it. They go Lions. Full Lions here. McCarthy then comes back and completes a pass to Naylor for a 1st down. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yep.
So it ends on for J.J. McCarthy, it ends on a positive note. But again, as you can see, the situations are field goal. Okay, we didn't get something, we punt. And then this last one was a Dan Campbell, like, we're in a good territory, let's just go for it.
How do you feel? You observed this with him. We were talking off microphone. You observed something kind of similar to what I observed just walking off the edge of the practice field with him 2 days ago, which is not the best. I think in his words, like, not the best performance offensively, and there's some throws that he'd want back and some reads and stuff as he's trying to figure this out. That even though he didn't feel great about large portions of the last 2 practices, he's walking off the field with a big positive attitude and let me at him again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
What do you make of that? Yeah.
I make of it that, yeah, it is now, 6 practices in. Today is 1 week since they took the practice field. He's starting for the first year. I would be very concerned if this kid hung his shoulders and said, oh, man, this is tougher than I thought.
Yeah.
No, he's confident. He's confident. And things are going to go wrong. I mean, things are going to go wrong in games. Things are going to go wrong. I mean, the Vikings are going to lose games, and J.J. McCarthy's probably going to have some bad games.
There's an aura as...
Yeah. Well, he's got to be confident. And if he's not, if he's coming off the field saying, oh, man, I was terrible. God, did you guys see that? Mm-hmm. Please don't rip me. I'd be very, very concerned. So he has, and I've said this from day one until I'm proven wrong, He has the quarterback mentality, which is, okay, yeah, I wasn't great, but you know what? It makes me better not to be great. That's the thing people don't get. Failure is what helps you succeed. If everything is on an upper trajectory, well, eventually when you hit failure, you don't know what to do. And quarterback, I mean, if you watch the quarterbacks, watch the great ones too. There's a lot of plays that don't go right. There's a lot of plays that end up in picks. They end up in simple, hey, the route's not there and they spike the ball. Like there's a lot of things that go wrong. And I mean, it's the one great thing about sports is how do you handle it? Because a lot more, it's like baseball. If you get a hit 3 out of 10 times, you're good. So you got 7 at bats there to process where you weren't good necessarily. How do you process that? If everything is, well, I was always great and it's going to be great, you're lying to yourself. So what I want to see is, does he keep his head up? Does he stay confident? And that includes getting into teammates or himself.
Can I add? I was going to save this for Feedback Friday, but Feedback Friday is likely going to be also, although they don't practice on Thursday, so we're not going to have as many camp notes on Friday. But I do want to spoil one of the Feedback Friday things here from the YouTube comment section. Also, thank you to those of you who have clicked that subscribe button and the like button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. We're getting close to 60,000 subscribers here. So if you haven't done so, if you're enjoying these camp updates, click that like button, the subscribe button, and then on the audio side, a 5-star rating and a positive review can help us keep growing this community. You guys are just the best listeners and viewers and fans. We love you guys. And Lazy Television chimes in with a critique, which critiques are welcome as well. And he said, imagine the coverage of these last 2 practices last year if it was Darnold struggling instead of McCarthy. Also, all of McCarthy's quote-unquote highlights so far are against backup defensive players. Unequivocally, that second part is not true. It's a lot of 1 versus 1 offense versus defense. But the point he's making here is, if it was Darnold struggling for a couple days in practice, which he did last year too, and it was well documented in Judd's camp notes, the inaccuracies, some of the interceptions that we're giving, I'm assuming I'm extrapolating here, Lazy Television, so apologies if I'm getting your critique wrong, but it sounds like he's saying, if this was Darnold, you'd be hammering him, kind of like you did last year, but because it's McCarthy and you guys like him, you're giving him a pass. And I will just say, Darnold came in last year with 6 years of a track record of being a bad to mediocre quarterback with accuracy issues, a guy who notably saw ghosts, and some of that was just he's put into bad situations. But we had 6 years of this guy's not very good. What will he look like in Kevin O'Connell's system? And as he, at some times last year, looked like the old Sam Darnold, we were like, oh, I don't know, this is kind of dicey, right? McCarthy has a blank canvas right now. If McCarthy's 22 years old doing this for the first time. So like it's not a gotcha moment here. It's we're giving a little more leeway and grace for a brand new quarterback to work through some things against a top 5 defense. And I think that's fair.
Did we not also talk about Darnold when he did struggle early in training camp last year in the context of he's new here? I felt like
100%. We gave him grace too. 100%.
The one guy we didn't give grace to a ton was Kirk, but that's because Kirk was a veteran who was making a ton. Like if I show up today for Judd's training camp notes and the Vikings are like, we got a quick press conference. We've just given JJ McCarthy a 5-year contract, starting at guaranteed $130 million. Guess whose expectations go up a lot? Guess who starts to say, okay, this isn't good?
Yeah. Well, even then, I would still say, okay, team, why are you doing that? You don't need to do that. And it's like, it's more correlated with what is their track record going into these practices. Kirk Cousins came in with a bunch of 4,000-yard passing seasons and 20, 30 touchdown seasons. He had like 3 really good starting seasons, and he came in as a mercenary. It's like, okay, well, you're going to be judged on a 13-win team looking for that final piece a little differently. Now, the expectations are higher than most first-year quarterbacks because they won 14 games last year. The defense is ready to win a Super Bowl. The weapons are locked in. The offensive line was redone. So he does have more pressure on him and higher expectations than like a rebuild situation in New England with Drake May right now. And so that's also baked into these conversations.
Yeah, I'm just not. Look, we're also talking about a guy who ideally is here for 10 years. Like, I'm not going to pee on the guy's parade instantly because he has a bad practice. Like, I look,
Pissing his cornflakes.
Full disclosure here, at the time, I didn't do that to Ponder. Like, if you draft a quarterback in the first round, you got to give him the grace of seeing what the kid can do. Now,
it's like
McCarthy,
year two, kind of midway through year two, when Ponder started being like, how about this guy?
If McCarthy busts, he busts. But, like, there is, like, the resumes. It's all in the resume. So, yeah, I agree. And this thing of him not going against the first team at all, I don't know what Judd's camp notes, like what part you're not hearing about this, but he's definitely had some first team reps. Some second team as well?
Yeah.
Or against the second team.
Got any more camp notes, Judd?
Come on. Football.
Right after we shout out Standard Heating, you want to talk about the first team HVAC company, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
That's right. They made my life a lot easier when I bought my first house. They were able to give that inspection on the furnace to make sure it was all ship shape, so I could obviously go through with that purchase. Plus, they're going to come back out next week to take a look at the air conditioning to make sure everything is still working with that. It's an old unit, and you got to make sure that thing is still working properly. So go to Standard Heating. You can contact them however you'd like. Tell them that Purple Daily sent you. You can join their Smart Club, too, which gives you discount on repairs plus priority booking, too. So go to standardheating.com to learn more.
All right, back to the camp notes here. Judd's on fire. Judd's camp notes.
Come on. Football.
Okay, let's go to a situational drill that involved one Samuel Howell. This is not to bash him, actually. It's to, well, it sort of does, but it is to praise
Playing the hits.
cornerback Dwight McCloughan. Okay?
Now that's what I call Judd.
Third down from the defense's 31. Sam Howell drops back to pass. Sort of floats a pass towards Ty Felton.
Floats, huh? I see the code language here.
Dwight McCloughan jumps the route, picks it off. I think we might be getting to the point of seeing the man that they call Nudie get some first team reps here at some point. Dwight McCloughan's showing enough.
Yeah.
Like, he impressed him. He came in as a UDFA last year, made the 53. He's back. I think he might be next man up for some first team reps. And if you're going to ask where that's going to come from, I'm not convinced Okudah's the guy yet. Like he's getting a chance. But Brian Flores knows what he wants and he knows what he sees. And I don't know that he needs to prolong things. And I'm not saying Okudah's playing poorly. I'm just saying Brian Flores is going to know way before the season starts, I think, what his plan is. Dwight McCloughan, keep an eye out for him at some point in time. It has not happened yet to get some first team reps. I really like how he's playing.
Yeah, really just a lanky guy, right? It's his length stands out in these practices. 6'2". Yep. Flores, I mean, it's not that Flores won't play smaller cornerbacks. Obviously, they have, but I think is he the biggest, like in terms of just height and length? He's like one of the two longest cornerbacks, I think, in that room. Yeah, and so right just gives him an easier chance to put a hand on a football, tip a pass, intercept something. Oh, you got the roster there. Okay.
I'm looking at the roster right here. Of course, with my eyesight, I got to stick it below a light to see the damn thing, which is a whole different story. Yeah, Zemiah Vaughn's 6'3".
Okay,
so
yeah, he's a bigger
length.
dude.
Yep.
By the way, Dwight McCloughan, because we haven't talked a ton about him since last summer, just because he was, stashed away, wasn't getting defensive reps with the depth of his defense. But his last year at Arkansas, actually, if you combine his last 2 years at Arkansas, 2022 and 23, because he was hurt for a portion of that 23 season, right? He missed like 5 or 6 games in the middle. So 1,400 snaps between his last 2 years at Arkansas, and opposing quarterbacks had a 48 passer rating against him. Like 48. NFL league average is 90.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And he had opposing quarterbacks completion percentage was 48% with a 48 passer rating. And he had like 7 interceptions, only 3 touchdowns allowed, 15 pass breakups. So like in coverage in the SEC, he was a dude. And he winds up going undrafted. He was one of the top ranked undrafted free agents. And so, yeah, I mean, they're giving Okudah a shot because he's a former number 3 overall pick, but there's some guys like Vaughn and McCloughan that as training camp progresses, if they keep making plays, it wouldn't be shocking to see them maybe jump up and get some first team reps.
So I'm putting him on being the first guy if there are more reps to be had at cornerback with the first team. Nudie, Dwight McCloughan.
Nudie, let's go.
Nudie.
I think the story was he ran around as a kid without clothes on, and his sister's like,
Oh, who didn't?
well, I mean, yeah, as a little kid, yeah, exactly.
Oh, you mean not yesterday in my house? My bad.
Yeah, not a teenager throwing a kegger who decides to take his clothes off. No, that was not Dwight McCloughan.
There's definitely more incriminating ways to be nicknamed Nudie. So that's a pretty pretty PG way to. Judd's Camp Notes.
Let's stay on the UDFA train here, and let's make a stop at tight endville, because I got some news for you, okay? So, and we've talked about this guy, but I'm seeing more and more. Now, here's the situation. Gavin Bartholomew of Pittsburgh has been 6th-round pick. He has been out. He has a back problem, and as I continue to say, back problems for tight ends or any football player are not good. Yesterday, Ben Yurcek continues, probably should have been drafted, continues to impress. 2 catches in particular. Sam Howell pass in, I believe it was the 7-on-7 red zone drill. Who goes up and gets it? Ben Yurcek. Mm-hmm. He also made a similar catch in a pure passing drill before they started the 7-on-7 or team drills. If one of these tight ends, I mean, Bartholomew, I don't know when he's coming back. Chaz Chambliss came off the PUP list a couple days ago, so Gavin Bartholomew is the only guy left on the PUP list right now.
And when you're that late of a draft pick, if you miss like 2 weeks of training camp,
and
pretty tough to make the 53.
And is there a big difference between a 6th-round pick and a guy that probably should have been drafted, but because of the circumstances of the draft class wasn't, who, by the way, played in the SEC at Georgia? Probably not. Ben Yurcek, to me, is a guy to keep an eye on, to make the roster and this is going to depend partially on blocking, which I don't know, but just as far as his talents go, I think he is the leading candidate right now for tight end 3.
Yeah, that's what, or a name that is out there that is a cut or a waiver guy at some point. But So like among the internal options, you think that Yurcek is flashing the most, right? Okay.
Yes, and I just think he's a guy. I love the resume. SEC Georgia. I mean,
and Stanford. He played at Stanford for parts of 4 years, and then had the partial year at Georgia because he was hurt. But he's played some big time college football, and he's getting run for sure. You know, he's definitely there are reps to go around once you get past Josh Oliver, and Yurcek is benefiting probably more than just about anybody else in the rest of that room.
Shall we make a stop at Kickingville?
It'd be great. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me give you your official little sounder here. Got any more camp notes, Judd?
Come on.
No, I'm not done.
Football.
Yes.
I'm not done. Let's talk some big leg Bill. Let's talk some Will Reichard, who now has had 2 separate days in which the Vikings, near the end of practice, have ended with kicks. All right. Practice 4 a couple days ago, because the practice on Tuesday was practice 6. Practice 4, he goes 5 of 6. Makes from 34, 41, 45, 50, and 54, wide left from 48 yards. So that's practice 4. That's a couple practices back. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, not 5 of 6, but 5 of 7. So he got extra kicks in both, as we talked about before, situational, and then they did the end of practice field goal attempts. He hit the left upright from 53. He missed from 46. The wide left a couple days ago was from 48. He was good from 37, 43, 48, 49, and 50 yards. And then here's the secondary part that's very interesting about yesterday. Not surprisingly, punter Ryan Wright held for most of the kicks, but Oscar Chapman, my guy, the Australian punter, also got to hold for a couple of kicks, including the 50-yard make. So there, I hesitate to say that there is no punting competition. Oscar Chapman, I think, is at least being given an outside chance to vie for the job. But now through 2 practices, Will Reichard kicking, we have 10 makes and 13 total kicks.
Okay. It's Oscar Chapman.
Oscar Chapman, number 91.
I think that just sounds like a good punter name. Don't you think?
He's an Australian kid, but he punted in college. I'm telling you, he's got a wide array of Australian punts.
How many was Darren Bennett was Australian, wasn't he?
He was very good.
And was Reese Lloyd was he South African? What was Reese Lloyd?
Yeah, I don't think he was Australian, but he didn't he punt like one?
Well, he definitely rolled out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reese Lloyd. I'm sorry. He's from Dover in the UK. He's a UK guy.
Okay.
So yeah, they've got a rich history of going outside the United 50 states.
Darren Bennett came here as a veteran because he had punted forever with the San Diego Chargers at the time and signed here late. But so
how do we feel about the holding chemistry? Are they letting Oscar mix in on the holding, or is it strictly Ryan Wright at this point?
No, he's held. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
okay.
He held.
So they are mixing. Okay.
Yes, Ryan Wright is holding more than Oscar Chapman, but Oscar Chapman held for, according to my Judd's camp notes, the 50-yard make yesterday.
Okay.
So it's interesting. Reichert, though, 10 of 13 so far. So 3 misses, a hit upright, and then a wide left on his first time, and then another miss that I think was wide right yesterday as well.
Got it. Okay. Judd's camp notes.
I think we got our first look yesterday at kick return combinations. I've not, if this has happened, I've not seen it. I've missed it. But yesterday, okay, so let's go with, and keep in mind now, it's 2 guys. It's a combination. It's one guy who's going to return the kick, and it's another who's going to sacrifice his well-being and his health because that guy gets a running start to block guys and is most likely to be concussed. So, the kick return combinations, Ty Felton and Ty Chandler. Ty Chandler, though, the guy that's sacrificing his health now. Ty Felton returning. Dante Fleming, a wide receiver, and Miles Price. I'm sorry. Silas Bolden and Miles Price. Now, Silas Bolden, I think, has a chance to make this team. I think he's got a chance. He's sort of a Rondale Moore. I can't see him and Rondale making it.
Yeah.
But he has but he's got the same type of size. I don't think he's a regular wide receiver. I think he might be a gimmick guy at times, but he's also a return guy. And then the last one, no chance, Trey Stewart and Miles Price.
On Silas Bolden, because Rondale Moore, especially if Jordan Addison is suspended for a few games, like you could trust him, provided he's healthy enough to make the 53, which you would never, like you would determine that he's out at practice right now, so he's healthy.
Yep, he's on.
You would trust him to actually run routes and take 15 or 20 snaps in week 1. And Silas Bolden feels like a guy based on his size, undrafted, that isn't going to be, because when you cut guys before the final 53 is formed, the only way that you would really lose them is if another team claims them for their 53-man roster. They could also decide to go sign with a different practice squad, even if you offer them. But I would guess that, like, if he clears waivers, no one picks him up on a 53, which seems likely that he would clear waivers, right? I just think, like, procedurally, if you say goodbye to Rondale Moore, someone probably picks him up to be on the active roster, right? So you're saying goodbye to him, peace out, I think. So my guess is that if both guys are healthy, Silas Bolden, nice little practice squad stash that you could elevate if needed. That's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Now, what was interesting is in the kick return combinations I gave you, and I just didn't see this, Rondale Moore was not in them. So the punt returners now are Silas Bolden, so he's doing both, Rondale Moore, and the rest of the punt return guys working in Tuesday's practice. Excuse me, I'm getting choked up because these Judd's camp notes are so good. I'm doing such a
the
great
special
job.
teams, the return combos are an emotional time.
Matt Daniels,
camp,
I'm sorry.
For sure, yeah.
Jalen Naylor, Dante Fleming, and Miles Price. I think the punt return job is Bolden, Moore, Naylor third. I don't think he's the guy, though. So I guess I am a little bit curious, Rondale Moore not on kickoff returns, and if that's going to be something that we see eventually. But I did find that to be the one interesting thing. But I'm with you. I think Bolden probably clears the waiver process, signed to the practice squad. So Rondale Moore would be my favorite to return punts. And I guess what that would mean, and it makes sense, given how they did this yesterday, that Ty Felton is your primary kick returner.
That punt returning was, again, let's go back to the Warren Sharp episode from yesterday when we can talk about that Feedback Friday. It is funny that people, like, if any sort of pushback at all that the Vikings are going to be a 13-win team, and there are people that get pissed about that, but he brought an analytical sense to what needs to happen this year. And I thought he did a good job of balancing it with, hey, this stuff is probably going to be hard to replicate. So what is the counterbalance over here to, okay, what's going to improve if this is going to come back down over here? Well, one area that can drastically improve in the margins is punt returning for the Vikings. So Brandon Powell, among qualified punt returners, was dead last in yards per return, 7 yards per punt return. Marvin Mims at the top, 22 years old with Denver last year, 16 yards per punt return. Marcus Jones, New England, 15 yards. Khalif Raymond with Detroit in your division, 14 yards per punt return. And I could keep going down that list. So can you find someone that A, isn't going to muff a punt? That's the most important thing. But B, that can maybe double your average yards per return and give you better field position with a young quarterback. So I know it's kind of like, this is the doldrums of camp when we're a week in and the excitement has settled into the grind and you're monitoring. Judd's Camp Notes is monitoring punt returning.
But this is where it's at.
That's a major area for improvement from last year's team.
This is how we construct the team. So what I would say right now is the favorite to return kicks is Ty Felton. The favorite to return punts is indeed Rondale Moore.
Love it. I know you have to go because you have to get out there for the media availability here, and I will join you.
Can I give you one more?
Sure.
Because it's gonna resonate with Phil Mackey. Mm-hmm. So a bunch of guys, not because they're hurt, but because it was a practice after a full padded practice. A bunch of guys, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, had a day off. A bunch of veterans. That included Ryan Kelly and Brian O'Neill for some snaps. So who took their positions on the first team? It was interesting. Michael Juergens, who's the second team center, who of course was in camp last year and then was on the practice squad. He was in working with JJ McCarthy with Kelly watching. And the right tackle replacement was none other than the ultimate king of swing, Blake Brandel. So Blake Brandel now has played right guard. He obviously started at left guard last season, but he has now played right guard when Will Fries was not set to practice yet. He is back at practice, pancaked the guy yesterday, very nice. And he was
Football.
Blake Brandel at right tackle for a few snaps. Nothing's wrong with O'Neill. Nothing is wrong with Kelly as far as I know. These are all just sort of take a day off and then we're going to see what we have.
Yeah. So that's good context. Like JJ McCarthy behind essentially a backup offensive line against the number one defense. Context. Today, I think pads are back on today. Yeah. Is that what you've heard too?
Pads are back on today. Yeah. And yesterday, cool. and yesterday, to be clear, like the defense wasn't doing much. So like that had nothing to do. It definitely impacted McCarthy on Monday, and it's going to be curious to see what type of strides have been made there. But yeah, the Juergens thing to me is because the one thing is Ryan Kelly's health is going to be a question mark. And can Michael Juergens, if he has to play for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 2 months, can he play there? Because that becomes an incredibly important thing because obviously the addition of Kelly was a massive in the Vikings' mind, upgrade, in, I think, for Garrett Bradbury.
Yeah. Judd's Camp Notes.
That's all I got.
More tomorrow as part of Thor's Day. So it'll be a Thor's Day Judd's Camp Notes.
Check it out. We already got the practice, the date.
Wow, look at you. Working ahead the curve there. Great.
11 periods is my guess. That's
I will. I think I'll say 12. 12 periods. We'll see. I think they're going to add an extra one in there. Yep. Yeah. So I'll see you out there on the perch. If you're out there as a fan, say hi to Sports Dad. Say hi to me if you see us. Talk some football, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.